school is especially unique because of it being the first, what they call the demonstration school of the environment.
And it makes this environment comfortable. My favorite part in this school, maybe of course, the green facilities, especially the solar panels.
Their well-being, their mental well-being while they're on this property remains our biggest concern. So whatever we can do to improve the facility in terms of color usage, in terms of plants, in terms of the direction that windows face, that's really, really important to us.
We often depend a lot on air conditioning. So when classes are brought here, air conditioning is natural. It's not something that has to be run by electricity, but instead it's something that nature provides us with. And I think that that's more beneficial to the learning process.
Does it make a difference about having electricity because the lane is still continuous with or without electricity? We have a big yard and big garden. So kids, every time, kids will love to do gardening. They love having fun there at the garden.
This is where we live, this is where we learn, and where we learn really matters.
We learn here.
Thanks. How about a hand for our student videographers? Kai and Jesse were up all night working on this video. They were just collecting the last of the footage that you saw in Johannesburg, where Kai and Jesse actually several years ago built one of the schools, one of the green schools that you saw in that video with other Cornell students. So thank you. As Jane said, my name is Rachel Gutter. I'm the director of the Center for Green Schools at USGBC. And today I'm thrilled to talk to you about this new initiative that we're launching here in South Africa, the Global Coalition for Green Schools. It's a partnership that we've been cultivating for about a year now. It really had its roots last year when I was with so many of you in Germany, in Stuttgart, and we started to really have a conversation about how many incredible initiatives were going on that were schools focused with GBCs across the world. And so we've teamed up with the World Green Building Council and a growing number of other GBCs to launch the Global Coalition. We're hosting a workshop tomorrow. I'll show you the details of that in just a moment for those of you who are interested in attending and learning more. Tomorrow we'll be talking more about the what of the coalition, what we'll be doing, what we'll be focusing on, the kinds of initiatives that we'll be collaborating on. But today I wanted to focus a little bit more on the why. So when I was growing up and we were educated on environmental initiatives, the language was always about taking care of the earth. It was always about caring for this globe. And for me, and I think for so many other people, not just children, but adults too, this is a hard concept to connect to. Like, it seems very far off and it seems enormous. It seems like something that's difficult for us to touch, to feel, to see. And I think that the GBC community has done an incredible job of taking that rather large and sometimes intangible concept and really making it about the practical decisions, making it about the business case. And I think that's been one of the biggest strengths of the green building movement overall across the world. But green schools, they allow us to do something different. They allow us to make this a conversation about people. They allow us to make this a conversation that is personal, that is emotional, and also that is local. We think that Green Schools introduces an opportunity for us to talk about the entire green building movement in terms of legacy. This is a conversation about what we want to leave behind for our children. It's a conversation about the kind of work that we want to do, the kind of impression that we want to be able to make on the earth, and also the future that we aspire for our children to be able to live in. And so no matter where we're looking at green school efforts, they're going to look completely different. They'll look sometimes like this, and sometimes like this, and sometimes like this. But the thing that we're most excited about is, in terms of the focus for the Global Coalition, is what we all are journeying towards together. It's the commonalities that this journey, that we share on this journey. And the way that we would define that is really across these three pillars, right? That at the end of the day, a green school is striving to reduce its impact, to get to zero when it comes to energy, when it comes to water, when it comes to waste, when it comes to carbon, to improve the health and performance of the students, the teachers, and the other occupants. And of course, to ensure that all graduates are environmentally literate, that they are fluent in the language of green, that they're inherently making decisions to use what they need as opposed to what they can. I want to tell you a story about when it really dawned on me just how much there was to learn from the varied approaches that countries are taking to greening buildings and particularly to greening their schools. About 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to visit the Green School in Bali. It was the first school that we ever awarded the Center for Green Schools Greenest School on Earth designation. It's an absolutely incredible school, and my visit to the Green School came right on the heels of a conversation that we had been having with the Department of Education and leaders from across the United States that are experts on matters of things like green building, sustainability, children's health, environmental causes, and environmental literacy. And we were having a conversation about the metrics. This is one that's very familiar to most of the folks in the room here. The metrics of how we were actually going to ask schools to measure their progress towards becoming greener. And the health and performance piece really got us tripped up. And so we have all of these these medical practitioners and the American Lung Association and just so many experts on matters of children's health, all aspects of it, sitting around and scratching their heads and saying, from a metrics perspective, how in the world could we ever ask a school to prove that the school itself did no harm, right? That the school environment not only wasn't, this is a terrible double negative to use, but not only was it not harming students, but it was actually enhancing the well-being of the students. It was enhancing student performance. How could you ever possibly prove this? And of course, this is something that in our own GBC universes, we probably are giving a lot of thought to. We were coming at it from a school's perspective, and the consensus, I would say, of the community is they sort of threw their hands up and said, we can't even picture how this could possibly be told in a data, in a measurable, data-driven way. And then I showed up at the Green School. The Green School is completely open air. It has no heating or cooling system. Everything is naturally ventilated. All of the materials are local. They're all indigenous. All of them are completely untreated with chemicals or any kind of other harmful toxins. The students there are fed 2 square meals a day, and many of the meals are made with vegetables and fruits and herbs that are grown by the students right there on site. And it's designed with active design principles, which means that the students are up and running around all day long, getting fitness not just in their the 45 minutes a day that's prescribed for gym, like it is in some cases in the United States, but actually throughout the day, staying moving and staying healthy. And it was really at that point that it dawned on me that there was something so incredible to be learned from what was happening at the Green School in Bali and what was happening from some of the schools that you just saw in that video, that there was this tremendous wisdom in returning to the simplicity of, in a lot of ways, the way we used to design our buildings. And that, sitting in a conference room not too dissimilar from this, although with a lot less daylight, with the Department of Education and all of these other experts, it occurred to me how much we had really complicated the conversation, and that there was really an opportunity for us to return to or to visit the wisdom that other countries were taking in their approaches to having more sustainable buildings. And so this year, we selected 2, in fact, greenest schools on Earth. The first one is Sing Yin Secondary School in Hong Kong, and the second is the Waterbank School, which is outside of Nairobi. The Sing Yin Secondary School has what in the United States we would call flashy green, eco-bling. It has thin film solar. It has advanced LEDs with light and motion sensors. It has wind turbines. It has 2 green roofs. And then the Waterbank School, it's such an incredible contrast in rural Kenya. 25% of the student population at the Waterbank School lives on less than $1.25 a day. And water is so scarce in this region that, of course, it doesn't just cause thirst, it actually causes war. And the school, at the Waterbank School, stores and filters clean water for children and their families. It's also used to grow fresh vegetables to keep the children fed and to keep them healthy. And this is really what our desire is in launching this global coalition. It's this idea that although our journeys look very different, that there's something to be learned across all of these examples, and our shared mission to put every student in a green school within this generation. We think this is something, a value that we can all share, this value of wanting to give our children every opportunity to succeed, to equip them to take on the challenges that we will inevitably leave behind. Schools are inherently local. They require local solutions, and so the Global Coalition is really about honoring those different approaches happening throughout the world. The center's mission has always intended to be a global one, but when we really thought about what that was going to mean after we launched the center in 2010, we ourselves were scratching our heads because we really have our hands full in the United States. 25% of America goes to school every day. There are 133,000 primary and secondary schools in the US alone, 4,300 colleges and universities. And they face tremendous issues. In our Center for Green Schools State of Our Schools report, which we released this year, we estimated that $271 billion is needed just to bring US schools up to working order, and that double that amount, more than $5,000 per student, would be required to bring them up to a point where they meet today's education, safety, and health standards. And so when we thought about trying to sort of tackle this at a global scale, two things occurred to us. One is that we feel like we have more work than we can possibly do in a lifetime or in a generation, for that matter, in the United States. And two is it's not really appropriate for us to prescribe what solutions look like outside of the communities that we know best. And schools are, at their very core, local, and so it requires people who understand what the local opportunities are, what the local challenges are, and what the local solutions are. And those solutions need to be dreamt up and implemented by people who are part of those communities. And so that's why we, along with the World Green Building Council, are calling upon each of you to join us in this mission to advance green schools within this generation. We believe that no matter where our children learn, where they learn matters. And so the initiatives that various members of the coalition will focus on will look different. Wherever they are, some will be focused on energy, some will be focused on water conservation, others on waste, others on outdoor spaces. Some will be focused on student-driven initiatives, others focused on policy, governmental partnerships, infrastructure improvements from adopt-a-school initiatives to large-scale retrofits across multiple building portfolios. The goal of the coalition is not to prescribe activities, but to let 1,000 flowers bloom in advancing schools that are healthy, that are safe, and that are resource efficient. And so I'm thrilled today to share with you that 16 Green Building Councils thus far have committed to joining the Center for Green Schools and the World Green Building Council in launching the Global Coalition for Green Schools, and I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge each of them. The Green Building Council of Australia, Botswana GBC, GBC Brazil, Canada GBC, Chile GBC, China GBC, Colombia GBC, Croatia GBC, Hong Kong GBC, India GBC, GBC Italia, Jordan GBC, Singapore GBC, GBC Slovenia, Peru GBC, and Turkish GBC. And for those of you who aren't listed here, but if you are interested, we would encourage you to join us and to learn more at our workshop tomorrow, and to know that there is still an opportunity to become a founding member of the Global Coalition for Green Schools. The Global Coalition is modeled after the U.S. Coalition for Green Schools, which we founded about 5 years ago. It was actually preceded the launch of the Center for Green Schools at USGBC. And we called upon, and you see the list here of the participating members, what you might refer to as the titans of the superpowers of education, of health, of the environment. Or, if you ask some, they would tell you that they're also known as the protectors of the status quo. They're oftentimes the same groups that stand in the way of change across all manner of different subjects. The teachers' unions, for instance, oftentimes in the United States are in opposition to progress and to change, or things that are perceived to be that way. And yet the strategy in engaging them was really to put them out in front of the issue. It was to make them the leaders of the issue, to engage them as partners from the very beginning. And so what we found is just the mere existence of this group and the depth and breadth of the members has lent tremendous credibility and validity and momentum to the Green Schools movement in the United States. Collectively, the members of the Coalition for Green Schools allow us to reach 10 million community members. And they've been able to use their might and their influence in other ways, too. I mentioned the State of Our Schools report. In that report, we called upon Congress, which, of course, is well known for not getting a whole lot done right now, to recommission a comprehensive study on the state of public school facilities in the United States. It's a study that hasn't been done in 18 years, which means that it's more than a dozen years overdue. And so we continue to ignore a problem simply because we don't understand the extent of it. So you'll see in that blue box there that virtually every member of the Coalition for Green Schools signed on to this call for Congress. And just a few weeks ago, we did find out that right prior to the shutdown, found out that they have indeed committed to recommission that study, and it will commence in November. So these are the kinds of things that we've been able to accomplish. But what's even more encouraging is that every single member of the U.S. Coalition for Green Schools in the past 5 years has gone on to start their own distinct Green Schools initiatives, many of which are collaborative across the participating groups. And that's really what we hope will also happen as the participating GBCs stand up their own national coalitions for green schools, that they will also bring together the leading voices in the environment, in health, and sustainability education, and that they will collectively advance this mission within their respective countries. And the Global Coalition will do a number of different things. We'll be sharing together best practices, resources, and studies. We'll be supporting the members in their efforts to establish their own national coalitions, and we'll be introducing programs and initiatives and campaigns that can be implemented throughout various countries and in collaboration with one another. So if you are interested in learning more, please do come to our workshop tomorrow. We've changed the time, so it's different than what's reflected in your agenda. We'll be meeting from tomorrow, Thursday, October 17th, from 12:30 to 2:30. Lunch will be provided in room 1, and we really look forward to seeing you there. Your commitment to establish a global coalition or a national coalition is not required, nor your commitment to join the Global Coalition. If you're interested, please just come and learn more about this exciting initiative. And I want to just close with a quick story. This is a story that continues to be the source of inspiration for me, the source of inspiration for why we do the work that we do. And I was reminded that last year when I was in Germany and I started to talk to many of you about what would eventually become the Global Coalition for Green Schools, one of the things that I heard quite frequently was caution around comparing in any way the state of schools in the United States to the state of schools across the world. People were saying clearly in the United States, even your worst schools in many cases are better than our best schools. And so then I started showing them pictures of some of the schools that I've been visiting in the United States, schools that have air that's unfit to breathe, schools that are absolutely unsuitable for any kind of life form, particularly our most precious occupants that are our children. And I think that this story really illustrates just how profound the building and the built environment's impact can be on human experience. So a couple of years ago, we at the Center for Green Schools had the opportunity to host a regional finals for a student-led design competition. It's a competition where middle school students are challenged to design their dream school. So it's an exercise in dreaming big. Anything is possible. If you wanted to put a roller coaster on the roof, that would be permissible. And the first team to present was the team that you see here. They're from the same school district that I graduated from. It's quite a wealthy school district right outside of Washington, D.C. And the students put their model down on the table, and it was, again, eco-flash, eco-bling. It had living walls, and it had fisheries, and it had wind turbines, and it had solar panels. It was the greenest school that you could possibly imagine. The second team to do their presentation was from Washington, D.C., which is a district that's well known for having some of the worst performing schools in the country, both in terms of their facilities and in terms of academics. And when these children brought forth their model, the judges started to look around at each other. They were kind of confused because the only thing that was on the table was this, basically a model of a brick box. And the students stood in front of the judges and they said, "This is our dream school. We dream of a school that has windows that we can see through, bathrooms that work, a place where we can go to do our homework together, and 4 basketball hoops instead of 2 so that we won't have to wait in line at recess." These were the biggest dreams that those students could muster. And when I asked myself why that was, I only had to go a couple blocks away from our office to see that this was the place where those students were learning. And I think this isn't just, it's not just about the box that houses education. This is about allowing our children to see opportunities. And you wonder what kind of opportunities these children have, what they envision for their future, what they think is within the realm of possibility when the biggest dream that they could muster were windows that they could see through. And so I think that that's really what this initiative, the Global Coalition, is all about. It's about giving our children the kind of opportunity to dream of a future that is brighter, and an opportunity to help us solve the challenges that we currently face and that we know we will inevitably leave behind for them. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.